Good evening, everybody. This is Brian here on New Jersey Revolution Radio, live with Diane Moxley. It took a week off last week, but we are back. There's been a lot going on. We're going to discuss ICE demonstrations. Our comrade from Patterson is continuing to fight for justice for Jameek Lowry, who we still have no coroner's report on. We'll talk about Extinction Rebellion, and a few of us were at Left Forum, so let's get started with the show. Even though Diane couldn't get over here to the studio tonight, she's visiting us via the Zoom room, and it's been a couple of weeks since we got together. But Diane, we've been busy, and I know one of the things that I was at yesterday, couple days ago, was the ICE demonstration at the Elizabeth Detention Center. You were not there, but I think you heard about it, right?
Yes, I thought that was last night, no?
It was last night, that's right.
Okay. I know we've been so busy, days seem like weeks, right?
Right, and people think we took a week off, but really what we were doing was hitting the bricks during that time.
Yep.
The ICE demonstration, the Elizabeth concentration camp, which so many people have been, protesting in Essex County. Joe DiVincenzo, the democratically controlled Essex County Board of Freeholders, continues to detain people for no reason other than being here. And I'll play a clip from our comrade Chuck Zulu. I apologize again to the Facebook Live crowd for the delay tonight, but if you check out our podcast, you'll be able to listen to this speech from Chairman Zulu as he talks about the ICE concentration camp. Here he is from the new African Black Panther Party, Chairman Zulu.
The United States government, the ruling class, the 1% is responsible because they engineered a counter-revolution in Guatemala. They engineered a counter-revolution all in South and Central America. They murdered Salvador Allende. You didn't do it. I didn't do it. Henry Kissinger murdered him. This ruling class murdered him. And so we need to stand up and say, if you want to stop immigrants from dying, to crossing to get good water, to get good food, then you need to change the system that we live in. We can't pretend.
That we actually, in this day and age, are here in 2019 protesting concentration camps. And I was there for a period of time. I heard some of the speakers, and there were a few speakers there that were saying, the police are on our side, that they're not that bad. And I don't know, I had a problem with that. And I don't know, I have a hard time, police aren't born police, you can quit being a cop. And that was what I was actually talking to the police at the demonstration, and I told them, just quit, man. Just quit. You can go build houses. The trades are hiring. The laborers' unions are hiring. The electricians are hiring. You can go build houses for these people instead of keeping them in cages. And I don't know about the messaging coming out from, I know all the groups are trying to do their best for these people, but I don't know that the messaging that the police are okay and they're on our side is very good messaging. I don't know, Diane, what do you think?
And I think I've even heard some stories kind of along with what you were talking about, that there are Mississippi corrections officers in the detention facilities, that some of them are getting really uncomfortable with what's going on and what their job has turned into, that they, there's stories of individual corrections officers that didn't sign on to this, massive amounts of detention of people that probably should be granted asylum, probably should be granted assistance. And if you're really uncomfortable, you didn't sign on to this job, quit. That's a way of shutting down our ICE detention facilities. Make it be a problem.
It does.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, that's the message, and I think, okay, so let me pull my cynical communist thought out for a minute, and let me take some of these police officers at their good word, that they got into this for the right reason. I'm sure a number of these police officers, there were Elizabeth cops there, sheriffs, so I mean, it was such a police state, it was scary as hell. There was probably 2 guns for every liberal protester. There were absolutely no danger to the public. It was a very mild crowd. Nothing was going to happen, but the police were ready for a war. And so, but let me just let's just give them credit. All right, so they didn't get into this now they've been there for years and they're roped into this nonsense. So what you're saying is encouraging me. But we always hear about good cops. Well, good cops should be speaking out right now. Good cops should be electing union officers that aren't on Fox News. Good cops shouldn't be members of Border Patrol unions that endorse Donald Trump. And I'm sorry, you know me, Diane. I'm the most pro-union guy on the face of this earth. Cop unions ain't unions. They ain't unions.
Uh-huh.
It's not. They're not. They're police. They're more police state apparatus.
I just wanted to ask what groups were present.
So, New African Black Panther Party, of course, has been everywhere, and Chairman Zulu gave one of the better speeches, I thought. Green Party was there. I did see Our Revolution had some presence there. I saw some Democratic Party candidates that were facing away from the speakers and working the crowd, and I don't even know. Wind of the Spirit, I believe, was there. Trying to think. I didn't take note of everybody. But, some of the speeches were on point. Some of the speeches were off point. I think that it's really inspiring to see different groups of people get together and support this issue. So that's the positive of it. But I think the messaging needs a little help in some of these areas. I don't think we should be tolerant of police doing work that incarcerates innocent people. It's not something that we should accept as them being good people. They can quit. They don't have to do it. And I bet you a lot of those assignments were overtime assignments they could have opted out of.
I'm sure that some of these Democrats spoke last night. Who did you hear politicians-wise that spoke?
I didn't see a name. What I would say is, if you look at the live stream, I'm not sure if Tom did live stream from there for about 45 minutes last night, but I didn't see any elected officials speak. Personally, they may have, and I wasn't paying attention. There's a good chance that I was talking to them. I decided that I would talk to police. That's what I did during that protest. I was walking around having conversations with the little individual groups of cops walking around. And I felt that was more productive than standing amongst the blue wave. What can I say?
Yeah.
I just felt like there wasn't a lot going on there. I said that I spent the protest talking to the police. I went around, there were a million cops there. And so I just kind of walked around to all these little groups of cops and told them they shouldn't be cops. That was my protest. So I didn't take note of the speakers too much.
Curious, I don't think there was anything billed as a nonviolent direct action going to occur. So I'm curious, are you saying it was a lot of, I know that the action was in Elizabeth. Was it a lot of Elizabeth law enforcement, as if they were getting ready for a riot or some type of arrestable situation?
I saw Elizabeth PD, I saw ICE, and I saw Sheriff's Department. That's what I saw. I saw a lot of flak jackets, paddy wagons, and docile liberals with their children.
Wow.
It was not.
There was no direct action.
It was not. Correct? It was not planned to be a confrontational action. The police presence was absurd and threatening. I'll give it this. When I talked to the police, and I was confrontational with the police, but I didn't yell or scream or anything at them. They did not approach me in a threatening way. There was a time when I was like talking to one of the I believe it was an Elizabeth cop, and I was just telling him to quit, and one of his partner kind of came over, but they definitely kept their distance and allowed me to speak at them. They did not respond other than to roll their eyes and think, "Oh God, will this guy please go away?" So credit where credit's due. They acted professionally. I don't think they were, but just by being there, it's intimidating. I mean, walking up that street, so you're walking up a street, right? When you get there, and it's a dead-end street, you're kind of penned in by the geography of it, right? And as you're walking past dozens of people that look like they're an occupying army. That's what it looked like to me. It looked like I was walking into occupied territory with guns and flak jackets and police everywhere. And then as I approach the crowd, I look and there's people with children. And, it's obviously not it's not going to turn into a violent protest. There's no point at which you were going to be like, do I need to protect myself? The police presence there was overwhelming, and that wasn't keeping. And they'll make the argument, well, we kept it safe. Nah, there's no threat in that crowd. There's none. Ridiculous to say.
And And I guess it was that Sunday? Yeah, Sunday evening. They have a group, I believe they call themselves Jews Against ICE, and
Yes.
I think they've been in New England doing other actions. They did, I believe it was, a known and obvious call for nonviolent direct action at the detention center on Sunday evening. And it almost looks like from some of the videos I saw, there was probably less police presence then, but maybe they got a little bit, annoyed that that action got a lot of press and attention. I see there's a lot of clips going around on social media, so I don't know if there was some kind of reaction to that. But again, I think there was a high volume of arrestees, but completely peaceful. There was no violence, no outbursts, no. I don't know if did you see any of those videos from Sunday evening, Brian?
No, I haven't, but I haven't heard of any violence being involved in any of these protests, and I think
completely peaceful.
That's I guess that's okay. I mean, I'm not a complete pacifist, and I mean, what's happening to the people inside those concentration camps is violence, and the support from the Jewish community is so important given the nature of the conversation, and that we'll never forget. And I've seen both sides, and I think that I've heard a lot about the American Jewish community having a lot of influence right now and having a lot of power to change things. And I mean, this is just on this issue, it's great to see people with that heritage and that, having that lived experience from relatives who brought those stories down, to hear them say, no, these are concentration camps, you gotta stop. And then you hear the others say that, well, we're insulted by you using this terminology because somehow it demeans it, but I'm not Jewish and, don't pretend to have that heritage, but I mean, the very easy and kind of common sense response is, Hitler didn't wake up one morning and murder 6 million people. He spent years brainwashing a country and dehumanizing people and putting all this hate and just blind, ridiculous hate for people they don't even know.
Stirring up the hate for the other. So the next step, let's not get to the next step.
Right.
So it's great seeing, and I know there've been actions going on everywhere, but I know a lot of people even came from out of state for Sunday's action, and it's that theme that you're talking about never again. And I hear very few people in the Jewish community that are offended by the phrase concentration camps. I mean, that has a specific definition and meaning, and it meets what we're doing. And it's horrific, and it's got to stop. So I'm so glad you were out there, Brian.
I'm trying to get out more. I do like going to protests. I do. What got me into activism in the first place was just going to protest, and but there's deeper organizing that needs to be had, and it's good to see people being drawn to this issue because it's just a moral crisis right now. But I think that the newer activists, I think maybe people that are getting roped into the Democratic Party, need some thought out there, and I think it's really important for revolutionaries to be in this mix, to try not to let the Democratic Party grab this narrative, because the Democratic Party is running the concentration camps.
Yes,
it's in that they're not our
concentration camps. They're running them, and they're making money off of them. How screwy is that we have federally the allegedly progressive Congress reps are voting to fund ICE, and then we have our Democrats in places like Essex County who are then making money off of those funds. It's disgusting. And one thing I've been putting out there is that people have to make the connections that between how they're involved with the funding and then making money off of, but also the fact that the Democrats in some ways are at times more atrocious on the foreign policy that leads to chaos in Central American countries that then create immigrants seeking refuge and seeking asylum.
Yeah.
I think, people need to understand, people don't want to flee with just, a bag of their life's belongings and make that trek to come here and be locked in cages. This is only happening because these people have no choice, and they're fighting for basic survival. And I want people to make the connections that it is, like I said, our Democrats are just as much war hawks, if anything. At times they're more hawkish than our Republicans.
Yeah.
And they had abysmal foreign policy in Central American countries. And like I said, we have to be, like you said, we have to be in these actions and get the messaging out so people make the connections. And I think people are. I think people are starting to wake up.
Good.
When you really do an analysis about what's going on, you can't run from it. It's too obvious. But yes, we should be out there at these actions. And I know there's going to be more at the detention facility in Elizabeth, so I hope to come out to some of them.
Yeah, I'm going to try to get out to more, and that's the deeper organizing that I'm talking about, Diane, and that's the message. And if we weren't out there, you can shout resist at a crowd all you want, but when you're funding these politicians, when your organizations endorse these politicians, when you're behind the scenes undermining the activism that goes along with these protests, we see you. That's all I'm going to say. We see you. And we're educating ourselves, and we're educating the general public about the things going on behind the scenes. So I think there's people that think they can get up on a stage and fool us. And I'm not fooled anymore because I've become involved with the Green Party, because I've been involved with New Jersey Revolution Radio, with the Socialist Party. And, that's I'll just leave it at that. I didn't learn none of that from the Democrats, so I know that.
Nope. And you know what? I want to give a shout out to our comrades with the Resist the Deportation Machine.
Yes.
Because they've been going after Joey D. and the Essex County detention beds, the ICE beds. And, I don't know, there might be some Democrats in there, but I think the bulk of them are more independent and left-leaning. And they are holding our Democrats accountable. So shout out to our friends with Resist the Deportation Machine.
Absolutely, doing a great job. They had some arrests over a year ago, I think, something like that, and that was almost a year ago. They were arrested. About 7 or 8 of them were arrested trying to get into Joey D's office. They had those thugs come out, and so they've been doing this a long time. And credit where credit's due. A great group of people.
Absolutely,
doing solid work.
Good work.
So I do want to before we get to Pat, we got to plug our usual stuff. Of course, as people know, Jameek Lowry, we're coming up on 200 days since this young man was killed. I'm going to move my microphone over here and come on screen for just a second because I want to read a statement from Corey he wrote an open letter. Now, Corey Lewis Teague, of course, is our comrade up there in Patterson. He works with the family quite a bit. And here's his statement. Dear FBI, Federal Bureau of Investigation, and he tags them in this post. It was brought to our attention that Passaic County Prosecutor Camila Valdez wrote a letter to the court stating that Reed McFadden, Jameek's brother, was a danger to society and shouldn't be released from city lockup. Local county law enforcement has went above and beyond to antagonize, harass, intimidate, bully, and terrorize his family ever since his death of Jameek Lowry, who was killed after coming in contact with Patterson police, went viral to the public and the media. We want to make it clear that we are aware nothing better happened to Mr. McFadden while in lockup. We are putting you on notice to all media outlets. He tags us, ABC News, CBS, News 12, New Jersey Revolution Radio, Hank Newsism, ABC News as well. So this is what I recognize as a pretty smart tactic on Corey's part. One of the things that political opposition will try to do is silence you and keep things behind closed doors and threaten the hell out of you. And the only way to face off against this tactic is to put it out there in the public, to make sure as many people know about these threats as possible. It's scary. We're talking about police that killed a guy. We're talking about police that murdered a man, and I'm sorry, and they may not have been convicted in court yet, but I don't have no problem sitting here saying that it's a murder until you prove otherwise. I ain't a court of law, and you don't have no weight of evidence with me. I don't have to be beyond a shadow of a doubt. Until somebody proves to me that the police didn't commit a murder in Patterson, I'm scared for that community. I'm scared for his family. I'm scared for the activists. I'm scared for myself just for speaking out at this point.
Yeah.
Nobody should be this frightened of those good police that are out there. Where's the coroner's report? Where is it? It's not here yet.
It's interesting reaching out to the FBI because I think it's only been even in the past few months. That 6 Patterson cops were arrested by the FBI, and for things like traffic stop shakedowns, the intimidation that's used, and that's a really high number.
Yeah.
In an FBI probe to have 6 arrested sounds like fairly quickly. So there's something funny going on there, and we need. The family deserves answers.
Yep. I was.
So hashtag justice for Jameek. We have to keep getting it out. I know, Brian, you've been doing a good job with NJ Revolution Radio, just getting stories out and just keep that out there. And, I know we've said it before that, if the time comes and there's rallies, we can help mobilize and get numbers out, because I can't imagine not having that report released to the family.
Yeah.
They're suffering enough, and it sounds like the family is being, beyond harassed by law enforcement. And it sounds like it's because
mother's
they
been
won't quit.
the mother's been pepper sprayed. Yeah.
I would never give up. So, our prayers to the family and whatever they need, we're there.
Family members have been pepper sprayed, arrested, harassed, and we don't have a coroner's report. Something as simple as producing a coroner's report that we know exists is on paper in somebody's desk somewhere, and they won't put it out. And so we continue, and we're not going away. I mean, that's it. I plan New Jersey Revolution Radio as long as it's here. At least once a week when we're here, we're going to mention Jameek Lowry's name and honor his memory, because he deserves justice. His family deserves justice. All right, that's ridiculous. The other thing we like to mention all the time, Diane, is something that's growing, and on the scale of our planet. Extinction Rebellion continues to have actions. Scrolling through your personal Facebook page, there you are in the street, getting arrested with 70 total, so 69 other comrades got arrested in New York City recently. You've had some court dates. Really proud to be working with you and associated with Extinction Rebellion. What's going on? What's the update?
Yeah, so it was a week from this past Saturday, so June 22nd. As you said, it was 70 rebellions, 70 rebels. And the target was the New York Times. Because the media was the target. So the New York Times was targeted as being the national paper of record. They should be leading the news, and other media tends to follow. So there was a specific set of demands that I don't know if you saw some of the videos, but there's
No.
the videos out there. You can catch some of it.
No, I haven't. Can you tell what were the
JRR video? If you look for it, June 22nd, because I was part of the direct action that was taken.
Uh-oh. Dead air. We lost Diane just temporarily. There she is. She's died. Should I eat crackers? Should I start chewing on my
Are you
face?
okay?
No, you were fading in and out. I think you're back now.
Uh-oh.
There you go.
Okay.
You're back now.
Sorry about that. 70 of us got arrested. We were making demands of the media. Our target was the New York Times. So we're asking... I'm sorry about that. Is my connection better?
You're better. Yes.
Okay. So making demands of the media that media should treat climate chaos like the emergency it is. It deserves to be on the front page every day, It deserves to be covered throughout the paper, through all sections, because climate change is hitting us everywhere. We're also asking that when the media does report, and sometimes they'll put in solutions like shutting off the water while you're brushing your teeth, or consumer-driven climate change.
Lifestyle changes.
Lifestyle changes.
Yeah.
But we are so beyond lifestyle changes. I mean, I'm a big lifestyle change person myself.
You are, yes, you are.
I do my veggie organic garden. But I alone am not going to stop climate chaos. We need dramatic system change. We need political change. And we are asking for the media to acknowledge that there needs to be complete societal change, not just put on individuals. We're also asking that they use the appropriate climate language to stop saying climate change. And I have to correct myself. We are now in a state of climate chaos, climate crisis, and if we don't use that language, people will not react. We don't have any time to wait, so we need to use dramatic language. We're also asking media to enact standards for political endorsements, such as what the XR demands are, is getting neutral and getting off fossil fuels by 2025. And we're also asking the media to stop taking ad money from fossil fuel companies. And that's why we believe they report the way they report. They're not getting tons of money for ads from a bunch of environmental activists, although I wish we could do that, but we can't. So it's really hard for us to compete with the people who they're either invested too much in fossil fuels, or they are actually the fossil fuel industry that take out half-page ads, full-page ads, and that's who's controlling the media. So as I've said before, people should still get involved. I love Extinction Rebellion because these demands are strong, solid, real, what we need right now. And you can still get involved because there's going to be more actions, because we're not going to stop until our demands are met. I do want to touch on one thing. In New York City, we started at the end of January, and even in March, members of Extinction Rebellion started working on New York City Council and started working with them to implement the resolution for New York City to declare a climate emergency. And some of our actions in April and even in the end of January, and there's smaller actions throughout those larger actions, have been demanding that New York City declares a climate emergency. And just a few days after our last action on June 22nd, New York City declared a climate emergency.
All right.
So, I want to bring these types of tactics, and their organizing structure to New Jersey. Some of us have started that. If you go to Extinction Rebellion New Jersey, the Facebook page, and you message the Facebook page, we will be getting some emails out soon. We do have a listserv, but we can also just directly email you. We don't have fancy organizing tools right now because we are just individually run at this point, and we don't have any money, but we're going to push it. We're going to put it out there because, I don't know, but I think it would be kind of cool to demand the state of New Jersey declare a climate emergency. So that might be something we're going to look at. And if you want to plug into New York as well, it's xrr.nyc. I know there's going to be a big action in the next couple of months, and there's probably going to be little actions in between. So plug in now, and I'll see you at the next big action.
Absolutely. Congratulations to you, and I know you've been working. You made a ton of sacrifices. We talk. I poke at you a little bit because you get arrested a lot, but it's certainly just highlights all this other serious organizing. And when, I guess this episode of New Jersey Revolution Radio Live is dedicated to that deeper organizing. So, and I think, that's real progress. It is. But when you've affected a city council to do even just a resolution like that in a very, 7 or 8 months, for those of us that organize and for those of us that know what it takes to do something like this, very impressive work. And yes, you're right. We need models like this that can put pressure on the current system here in New Jersey. So, again, I'll reinforce the New Jersey Revolution Radio Live. Diane Moxley, get in touch with us. We'll certainly work on getting in touch, with these groups so you can continue to organize. It looks like Diane's frozen on us. It does. So I'm just going to keep talking.
Oh, no.
There she is. Wait. Is she back? Uh-oh. So no, she's back. She's back. I heard her laugh. And now she's frozen again. And so this is the part where I come in. She just said, "Oh no," again. Is she skipping? Or is that just saying her? So we'll just give Diane a minute. If you're on the live stream, hang out. It's cool. Diane, when she comes back and hears us, we can start up. Are you there, Diane?
I can hear you guys.
Okay.
All right. Just keep running with it. Trying to be
Nope, I think you're there.
in studio next week. Sorry, guys.
I think you're there. You can hear us, and I think we're back live. We're good. So
I heard you the whole time, so you can keep running with it. I'm sorry. Like I said, I'll be live in studio next week.
That's all right. We will.
That's what it is.
We will. It's a good time to break down. I'm gonna do a plug real quick, and then we'll get into our discussion with our guest in studio, Patrick Noble from Socialist Party, is here with us tonight. Patrick.
Yeah.
Patrick. It reminds me of the Starfish when I say it like that. I shouldn't. So we will get to that, but first I want to give a plug. 360 Poetry Night with Justice in Newark, the last Saturday of every month at La Rouge Lounge. I did a live stream from it last week. I'm so glad that I went. It was so much fun. I'm going to try and put together a little highlight thing from a couple of our favorite artists for the night. Fela was the main actor. He sang a song called "I'm Gonna Kill My Boss," and it was my favorite song of all time, and I'm in love with the whole atmosphere and vibe of 360 Poetry Night with Justice. So, friend of the program, comrade, we know Justice as a social justice advocate, heavily involved. Congratulations to him on the solitary confinement bill, which I believe Phil Murphy is going to sign or may have signed.
It's on his desk.
It's on his desk.
On the desk.
Look, that's a solitary confinement. I would encourage. I know there's more to be done with prison abolition work and all that, but step in the right direction, and I hope the governor signs it. And if you feel so inclined, I believe they're asking people to call in. If he hasn't signed it yet, I thought he did already, but if he hasn't signed it yet, he should. And congratulations to Justice, and to support that guy. Man, Justice is a solid dude. That's all I can say about him. Get out there to 360 Poetry Night. Bring your wife, bring your partner, bring your spouse, bring somebody you want to have a good time with. And if you like slam poetry, if you like rap, if you like just regular poetry, if you just like hearing really great, just oral, A-U-R-A-L, oral art, I just had a fantastic time. Watch the live stream, and I'm going to put some stuff on. So, that all being said, Pat Noble is here from Socialist Party. We were all at the Left Forum.
We were
all at the Left Forum last week, and Diane, you were there with us.
Yep, I was.
There you go. What happened at the Left Forum? Pat, you were there more than us, right?
Unfortunately, I was there more than you. I did have the opportunity to listen to the panel that you were on. I tried to listen. I was tabling all weekend, and I tried to listen to it earlier today. But Facebook was having some kind of video picture meltdown.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't let me watch it. So I have not listened to your presentation yet.
It was fun.
It was fun.
It was. Diane, you did yours. We couldn't see each other. That's the problem with Left Forum. They have 4 million panels are all at the same time.
Yeah, and it's so hard because you look at this, you get a program, and it's like, I don't know what, 500 workshops, and like all the amazing ones are going on at the same time.
It's true.
I don't know, maybe Pat, you could verify this. It seemed like this year they did give the workshops more time, with time to walk from workshop to workshop. Other times it's like, I think like an hour and a half or 2 hours, but they like run right into the other workshop. So people are leaving your workshop early, coming into the next workshop.
Basically.
So at least this year they did that, but it's so hard because it never fails that the ones you want to see, they're all like in the same slots. So were you there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday?
I'm there for half of the day Saturday, and most of the day Sunday.
Okay. So you have the table. Did you get to see any workshops live?
No.
What do you do at left form if you don't go? How do you go through left form without seeing a workshop?
You go through left form like waiting to leave left form. You're just thinking about what is the closest bar to where I am at 5 p.m. so I can immediately go there.
And we were actually looking for you on Sunday at about 5. So what bar did you run to? Because we couldn't find you on Sunday.
Everyone should forgive me for this. I was at Applebee's around the corner.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
So the Applebee's, and we opted for the more slightly independent diner, but I don't know.
In my defense, they had all the Pride stuff going on in Manhattan.
It's true.
So we decided we didn't want to try to get into the middle of that and go to a bar that was packed. So we went to the Applebee's, which was.
We went to a diner, like Diane said, afterwards. So part of the fun of the live forum is the networking. I guess so. You do a lot of that at the table. The session I did, and if you didn't catch it, I did put it up on New Jersey Revolution Radio, so you can do it live. If I have some time, I will make it a podcast. I'd like to. It was an honor. Some of you may know Bruce Dixon passed away. Bruce Dixon from Black Agenda Report, a Black Panther, years in the movement. People that worked, I never met Bruce, but I know people that knew Bruce. So, and everybody said this guy had a heart as big as all outside. He was not only a social justice, champion and great educator. I mean, please go, if you don't know what Black Agenda Report is, go find out and go learn from them. Because it's in my opinion, the greatest media outlet in the world. I like Democracy Now. I appreciate Amy Goodman.
Maybe the second best. Of
course, New Jersey Revolution Radio.
I wasn't sure where you were going to land on that list.
New Jersey Revolution Radio would not exist on the small level that it does at all, even if it wasn't for Black Agenda Report speaking truth to power for as long as they have. What they've done doesn't get enough recognition, but I think it's growing. And one of the things that I think Bruce has left us with by so many people, and it's just one of those names that now that he passes, everybody's talking about him. So I wasn't at Left Forum the whole time, but the time I spent there felt like a funeral for a wonderful man. I mean, it just felt like a lot of people sharing memories, talking about Bruce, talking about individual conversations they had with Bruce, that weren't public speeches. This dude had an impact, and if you're listening at home and watching the stream, I got a call to fill in for him at a panel. Somebody's like, I think you should fill in for him, and I'm like, no, I'm Brian Powers. I don't fill in for Bruce Dixon. Get the hell, you got the wrong dude. But no, it was nice, and I got to go up there and represent the New Jersey Green Party and talk a little bit about strategy with Howie Hawkins.
Yeah, Howie was on there, so I think walking around.
I think I was honest. I try to be honest about what the Green Party is and what we're able to accomplish and why it's important that we're out there. I feel the same way about Socialist Party, Workers' World Party, and all these third parties, that these voices are important to the narrative, and I made my case, and me and Harvey, I even disagreed with the late great Bruce Dixon because I thought the title of the panel was horrible.
What was it? Like, should the Greens stand down in 2020, something like that?
Diane, were you in on this debate at all? I don't know if you took a position on the name of the panel. I know there was some internal squabble. This is okay because I brought it up. This is public. It's not internal strife. We're not arguing and dissolving the Green Party over it, but I talked about messaging, right? And I talked about positive messaging, and I think when you're a smaller third party, and Diane pointed out resources being a problem with Extinction Rebellion, it's the same problem in our political parties. Messaging is so important. The people power is so important. Power goes to two poles, right? Those that have the money and those that have the people. Well, we have to attract people with good messaging. So that was my only point, and I think we titled the seminar bad. That was it. Other than that, I think there's a lot of great things coming out of the Green Party as far as messaging goes, particularly with the push for a real eco-socialist Green New Deal, as opposed to this, Green New Deal that the Democratic Party has been talking, which, maintains private ownership and capitalism, and so Diane's back, and I was just going over my little critique of the title of the seminar, but we're past that, and it was a great experience, and the real Green New Deal, which of course, it's been frustrating for us watching this happen.
Well, if you want to talk about messaging, maybe talk about calling something the eco-socialist Green New Deal.
Diane?
About the problem with it being called Green New Deal?
I guess messaging in general.
Yeah. So eco-socialist Green New Deal just obviously sounds wordy, also sounds contradictory anyway. We're trying to make something more radical than it's being presented by putting the word eco-socialist on it, yet we're still harkening back to the New Deal.
So it's the New Deal terminology that you don't like because that's a liberal program that saved capitalism.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can completely understand that. And I guess now maybe some people are clinging to it because Greens have been, I guess it's been around with the Green Party since maybe 2009. So what happens sometimes with people is point one, it's now gotten the recognition, but we all certainly heard about it before AOC.
Yeah. No, she made it up.
No.
She made it up working in the
sometimes people cling to things maybe for the wrong reasons. So maybe now is the time to come up with a new phrase, and maybe it is just saying we're in climate chaos. The only thing that's going to save us is eco-socialism. Just getting that messaging out. And maybe, I don't know that I have a lot of company with this perspective in the Green Party, but maybe we should not just cling to things for. Sometimes I think it's sentimental too.
I think that's the point. Yeah, I think that's exactly what it is.
I think they're pissed off that it got co-opted by AOC and the Democrats. The flip side of that, of course, is that if you're not presenting a truly radical program, you're begging for them to come in and co-opt it. If it's just moderate enough where it's palatable, they will take it.
Yeah, I think you could. I'll say I don't think it's that big because I think it's positive messaging. And I do want positive, and I'm not so into semantics that we should look past the title and see what we're talking about, right?
Yeah, and you have the 200 Democrats on the presidential debate stage last week talking about the Green New Deal.
Yeah, which has pushed them, and I think that we take as Greens victory in the fact that we've pushed the narrative, and everybody always wants to insult us and say we're not important, and we don't have any offices, we don't have any federal offices, although we have 170 people in office in the United States. Oh, you don't have power, and you should just work with the Democrats. But here we have probably one of the greatest victories in Green Party history. Because, we've never won major elections. We've won smaller elections. I'm proud of that. Just like you should be proud of being on the school board. But, we pushed the narrative, man. And I think that's great credit to us. And credit to our sponsors and stuff. Now, whether or not we're using terms that harken back to liberalism and things like that, I think are valid points. I won't take away from it. But we are talking about, taking over the means of production, community ownership, and things like that behind this. And actually, it's not eco-social. I think it's real Green New Deal on the Howie's campaign.
Okay.
So, I think we are, taking, not just maybe if we're doing bad at messaging, I think we're doing great on policy development, really, because we're pushing and we're making people start to talk about material needs, right? Extinction Rebellion's talking about material needs, and God, if I can't talk about that enough. And I think Socialist Party, all of us should be talking about material needs and not about narrative, And I know I just said, I just critiqued about narrative a second ago, but it's all right. I'm going to be a hypocrite. Because this suits my argument better now.
That 2 minutes won't end up in the...
Nah, cut that. I'll cut that.
Yeah.
What else happened at Left Forum? Table?
Sat at the table for 2 days. Was not a lot of people there this year. Did not seem as well attended as years past. Obviously, in a different location this year. We were at Long Island University's Brooklyn campus.
Mm-hmm.
Up until now, it was over at John Jay Manhattan.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely at the new venue. We were outside. That was different.
Yes, in a wind tunnel. That was awesome.
Yeah.
They had a book fair in a wind tunnel. It
Yes.
was genius.
What was great though was where our table was like right after some book tables, so it was like stopping the wind, so our stuff was fine. So I was gonna say our shit was fine, and I stopped.
Yeah.
Some of the other tables with literature on it, they were just flying everywhere. I guess that's one way to like sell your newspaper. Just let it fly in the wind. Someone eventually grabs
And then
it.
they pick it up and have to pay for
And
it.
you run up and try to get $1 from them.
That's the first thing I saw, like when you walked through the gate. I just saw the book fair, and I saw all these just pages and flyers, posters flapping in the wind. They literally, it was in a tube, an open air tube, which wind was just redirecting from, and it was.
Yeah. It was weird. I mean, you had all the booksellers, which is normal, which is cool.
Right? Yeah, every year.
But usually there's like every left wing party organization has their table set up, and that just wasn't there this year. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah, it was weird. Usually you have a PSL table, Workers' World table.
Workers' World wasn't there, really.
No, Socialist Alternative wasn't there, and that used to be a big thing for them.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
I saw the Greens were there, the SP was there, Spartacus League was doing their thing. I won't say they were there, but they were physically there. There was some internationals group there doing something.
Okay.
Yeah, it was weird.
Well, there's been a lot. I haven't followed the ISO breakup as much, probably as we should have, honestly, because we are like that lefty media source. But I personally never had a lot of really good connections with the ISO. I think, for those of you that don't know what we're talking about, the International Socialist Organization recently dissolved after internal crisis, accusations of sexual misconduct and all kinds of things. And I don't want to pretend to be able to report on this because I don't know the details. I'm not a member. I was never a member, not close to the membership. But that's had, I guess it sounds like it's had an effect, not only on where and when, but even some of these groups participating. Doesn't sound like a positive one either if we're losing, I think, participation across the left. In Left Forum.
Mm-hmm. I mean, in fairness, if something were to happen where I don't have to go to Left Forum, I would not. I would be okay with that.
You're on tonight. Did you practice all this wise answering?
Well, it's just been sitting in my head since I had to go there. Spent 2 days there.
That's true. Any good personal? I'm sorry. I'm watching Diane. I'm not sure if you're freezing or not here, Diane. So I don't.
I think I'm okay.
You're there. Okay, so I try not to take over the interview too much.
Okay, we're chatting. We were all present.
Got a good interaction story for us?
Yeah.
They don't. Nobody listens to this. Nobody's gonna know. Nobody's gonna know.
I told you. Well,
come on.
Yeah. So we're sitting at the table. John Palmucci, our local chair in Central Jersey, is with me. We're sitting at the table, and this woman comes up to the table frantically, and she's looking for where the Spartacus League people are at. And I have one of those moments where you give it, like you say something, you give an answer, then a few seconds later you realize you gave the wrong answer and you had a better one you should have used. So what I said to her was, no, I don't know where they're at. And then after she frantically scurried away to go find them, and then I realized what I should have said was, I hope they're in the dustbin of history.
Or you could look for them in the dustbin.
Yes.
Was she frantically trying to find them out of wanting to join them or wanting to?
I don't know.
It was important that she found them.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yes, that was interesting. That was really our only.
Yeah. Diane did a panel too. Diane on.
I didn't know that.
She did did you do one or two panels? I know you did one while I was there. Did you do more, or was it just the one panel?
Just the one that was simultaneous with yours.
I know.
So I couldn't sit in on yours.
Which one? Now, which one? Tell us about yours. Which one was yours? Since we're all telling our story.
Sure. It was entitled the Peace Congress, and that came off of the Peace Congress that was organized back in November when there was going to be the No Trump military parade protest. But then, as soon as the powers that be down in D.C. got word that there was going to be quite intense protests at the Trump parade with tanks, which it looks like, unfortunately, we're having tanks
Yep.
tomorrow. So, you're going to potentially have, iconic imaging like from Tiananmen Square of protesters standing down, staring down tanks, and lots of organizing. I'm sure they got word of. So all of a sudden, just weeks before, we got word that, no parade. They pulled it.
Waste of money.
So we
Big
still went forward with a weekend of action. And part of that action was the day before the actions that occurred. It was the weekend of Veterans Day. And the Saturday of that weekend, there was a peace congress organized. I wasn't able to be there that weekend because I was traveling pretty quickly after that weekend, so I had to divvy up my time.
Right.
But the Peace Congress is an idea of takes place as a General Assembly, so it's not a panel and it shouldn't be a lecture. It should be participation from everyone present. And if you do things in the real structure of a General Assembly, you're really making sure that every voice is heard, and it encourages every voice present to be heard. So we attempted that. Well, not attempted it. We did it in New Jersey, June 15th. So we were reporting back from our Peace Congress. We were reporting on the Peace Congress in November. And some tools we're going to look to implement. And the whole point is there's going to be a website created. It's actually, I guess it's called in beta right now.
Right.
And it is, I believe it's going to be peacecongress.org. Pretty certain about that, 99% positive. And the idea is to create methods for peace activists to communicate and mobilize. Because, just like this actions that are going to be happening on July 4th, sometimes you don't have a lot of lead time, and we need to get word out to each other. And we also call, in the Peace Congress, it's about recognizing the wars at home and abroad, because we recognize that U.S. imperialism and our hyper-militarization and the military-industrial complex has an effect on every facet of the U.S. So it's about bringing movements together, bringing activists together, intersectionality between movements, and supporting each other's movements for growth for everybody. So more to come, and hopefully when I have more information, I can get it out on New Jersey Revolution Radio. And I could just, while I'm on that topic, I'll just say there's going to be actions at the UN, because there is meetings at the UN. I believe it's the time frame is September 20th and through the 23rd. I might be a little bit off, but it's that general time frame. I'm sorry I don't have the website for that. But also the weekend of what we now want to refer to as Indigenous Peoples Day, which formerly known as the Genocidal Maniac Columbus weekend, we would now like to refer to as Indigenous Peoples Day. That weekend in D.C., the March on the Pentagon, formerly known as Women's March on the Pentagon, is doing 2 days of activities in D.C. The Friday of Indigenous Peoples Weekend would be an action, and then the Saturday would be I guess we call it a convergence. There'll be workshops, and people can meet and present workshops and ideas. And October 11th, which is the Friday, the day of action, there's going to be a march, a rally, and a non-violent direct action. So you can go to, Sam, so bad with websites, I really apologize for not doing this in advance, but for some reason, yep, it's marchonpentagon.com. Not no the in the middle, it's just marchonpentagon.com. If you go there, you can get more information about the weekend's activities, and we are calling it Rage Against the War Machine. If you go on that website, you can also buy a t-shirt, and they're really cool with a power fist t-shirts. So everybody go there and support our drawing and give support to these actions that are coming out.
Absolutely.
Thanks. Sorry, I threw out a lot.
No, good stuff. We are just about out of time, but we have to give some time for our guest Pat while you hear the playoff music, because like with the Oscars, you'll hear the music in the background, right? Go ahead and tell us what Socialist Party's up to. How can we tell, or anything else that you're involved in? What's going on, man?
All right, so we have our state convention coming up later this month in Woodbridge. Going to be at the Woodbridge Public Library on July 20th, starting at 12 o'clock. So anyone's more than welcome to attend that. Hopefully you'll both be there. And later this year, we have our national convention is going to be in Newark, hosted by our North Jersey local. That's October 25th, I believe. We're still a lot more info coming out on that, but we'll have our 3-day national convention in Newark. Hopefully MJRR will be there in some capacity.
Oh, I'm sure we will be.
And filming, convention floor fights and do some kind of highlight reel.
Do you guys drink before the convention? I thought you drank after the convention, so that wasn't a problem.
What people do on the breaks is.
Anything else, Pat? One more thing from Diane. One more thing. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying we could bring flasks.
There we go.
Yeah, we could. We've never done that before. Thank you, Pat. Of course, Diane Moxley, our host, New Jersey Revolution Radio Live, will be back in the studio next week. But thanks for joining us from Zoom. Thank you for tuning in on Revolutionary Live. Wow. Thank you.
What is in that glass? That's not water. It's water.
It's water.
I don't think it's water.
Thank you, my one last viewer on New Jersey Revolution Radio Live. Thank you for listening on the podcast. Thank you for watching on YouTube. Be out there for actions. Take action. Take action against something you care about. It feels good. Activism is good for your soul. It's good for our earth. We'll see you next week on New Jersey Revolution Radio Live.